meeting of the Mayor and Board of Aldermen for Tuesday, November the 1st. We've got a few changes to the agenda. I would ask you to remove from the consent agenda number 6B5.
Sorry, number 7B5, sorry.
Oh, 7B5.
I think I wrote that down wrong.
7B5. Ask you to remove from the regular agenda numbers 8 and 9. And ask you to add at 21A, discuss notifications regarding renaming and readdressing of city streets. At 21A. All right, those are the only changes that I have. If there is a motion to adopt the agenda with those several things removed and one added. All right, a motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? I am not sure there really is a slow time in Oxford anymore, but it sure feels good to have an off weekend every once in a while. So I want to brag on a few of our departments. The best I can tell, and I don't think there's anybody from Visit Oxford here tonight, but the best I can tell, every time Visit Oxford leaves their office, they get an award. It is amazing. They brought home 3 awards from the Mississippi Tourism Association Governor's Conference on Tourism week before last. They were named Destination Marketing Organization of the Year for budgets ranging from $500,000 to $1 million. They received the Large Festival Event of the Year award for Double Decker and were named Tourism Partnership of the Year. They are beyond talented and they work tirelessly for our community. These awards are super competitive. I mean, they're statewide awards, so to bring home 3 of these awards is certainly a huge testament to the work that they are doing. So if you see any of the team from Visit Oxford, be sure to tell them congratulations. Visit Oxford is currently leading the charge on our Christmas lighting event, which will be Tuesday the 8th, also Election Day. Vote early. I voted today. You can absentee vote now. So Tuesday the 8th at 6 o'clock, Coach Mike Bianco will do us the honors of turning our Christmas lights on to start the holiday season. If you want to come early and get your Christmas card picture made, the National Championship Trophy will be in front of City Hall on a table with a backdrop starting at 4:30. So come and join us then. We will have Christmas music and we'll have a booth that's selling hot chocolate and hot cider. So it's going to be a really fun afternoon. That's next Tuesday. The Oxford Fire Department has been hosting a raffle for a pink fire helmet, and our community was very generous, and the Oxford Fire Department raised $8,761 for Baptist Oncology to provide free mammograms and travel expenses for those without insurance who are affected by breast cancer. Thank you so much to the Oxford Fire Department for your efforts. Thanks to our community for your support of those efforts, and congratulations to Melissa Harwell, who is the proud new owner of a pink fire helmet. I'm going to ask Chief Joey Gardner of the Oxford Fire Department to come to the podium because he is going to introduce to you tonight our Oxford Firefighter of the Year.
So yes, ma'am, just like every year, the people at the fire department, they got together and voted, and this year our firefighter of the year is Captain Matt Tatum, who has been with us since February of 2006, and Matt is a captain on B shift, and he's also an EMT, so congratulations, Captain Tatum.
Well, our fire department does amazing work, and we thank you, Matt, for your hard work on behalf of all of us. All right, I'll ask the board to authorize the approval of the minutes of the regular meeting on October the 18th.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Request permission to approve the corrected minutes for the September 20th, 2022 regular meeting.
Yes, and if you, there was a memo attached that the 2 corrections were a year model and a VIN number for a truck.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ask you to authorize the approval of accounts for all city departments.
I'll make that motion, but actually I'm assuming just because we only had just those 3, because some of the other stuff hadn't come in yet. All I had was the utilities and the OBC.
Oh, I think they were a late, if you refresh, or you might have to go out and come back in.
Well, we can
It
always
should be
change
there.
it. I'll make
Yep.
that motion.
All in favor? Any opposed? All right, ask you to consider the consent agenda with that one item at 7B5 being removed.
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
All in favor? Any opposed? We will skip to number 10. Request permission to approve the FY 2023 interlocal agreement for the Lafayette County Metro Narcotics Unit and authorize the city clerk to file the agreement with the state after IHL approval has been received.
Move we approve.
Second.
All right. Anything you want to add, DC, before we vote? All right, we got a motion and a second. All in favor? Any opposed? Request permission to approve a parade assembly. You can keep on coming though, DC. Request permission to approve a parade assembly permit for Visit Oxford to host the Chamber of Oxford Shop Oxford event on November the 13th from 10 a.m. until 3 p.m.
Move we approve.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Request permission to approve a parade assembly permit for the community church to host a singing event, Christmas carols, on Saturday, December 24th from 3 p.m. until 8 p.m. in front of City Hall.
Same as last year.
Yep.
So moved.
All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you. Request permission to apply for the Emergency Medical Services Operating Fund grant in the amount of $16,911 with no required match.
Motion made.
All in favor? Any opposed? Request permission to apply for the Building Resilient Infrastructure and Community Program grant with a 25% match. I want to hear
Yeah,
about that grant from Shane.
How much is the grant for?
The non-competitive grant, Alderman, is $2 million from the state. I don't know what we're going to shoot for yet. We had planned on using this grant for a critical infrastructure to supplement on some another building. That kind of, with the cost basis, didn't work out. So we're looking. I'm getting with Rihanna to look at other options we can do. The grant is due December 1st. If we decide to turn it in, I wanted to get it before the board today, though. But it'll be
Well,
used for.
you'll have to vote on that. You know, depending on what project
All we're doing
is applying, yes.
so moved.
All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, discuss cellular connectivity for the Alabama versus Ole Miss game. Shane?
Alderman Addy and Mayor Tannehill came to me after the past home game and was discussing problems that our citizens had, different community people that came, visitors, and wanted to reach out to different cellular connectivity providers and ask if they could provide a cellular tower on wheels, known as a COW, or any of their options. I reached out to several of those. The only one that I got to return my phone call was C-Spire, and they offered to do improvements for the city. They're working on those. I got an email today that they're working on building up their cellular infrastructure. But if that doesn't get completed before the Alabama versus Ole Miss game, they've offered to bring in a Colt, which is a cell on light tower on wheels, I guess is the best way to put it. And I'm looking for board approval to continue discussions with them and finalize a location for that if it needs to be brought in.
Motion made.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you, Shane, for working on that. Pursuant to Presidential Determination Number 2022-19, consider declaring transformers and electrical grid equipment purchases as emergency purchases under Mississippi Code Section 31-7-13K. Rob?
Good evening. I don't know if you had a chance to peruse the language that I attached for you to review, but essentially the gist of it is this. Oxford Utilities and other local power companies are having a near impossible time purchasing transformers and other grid components due to supply chain issues, manufacturing issues, labor issues. And so President Biden made an emergency determination in June regarding this to declare this as an emergency so the Department of Energy could focus funds to kind of bring that emergency to a halt. In the meantime, I'm asking you, pursuant to state law, to declare transformers and electrical grid components emergency purchases, which will free us up from having to get 2 quotes on anything over $5,000. Because transformers right now, we can't get 1 quote, much less 2. And so if we're able to get quotes, we'd like to have the freedom to make those purchases because in 12 to 24 months, I'm afraid our stock is going to be depleted. with transformers.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed?
And just to
Approve-
note, I will bring those purchases back to you to review and approve
Sure.
after they're made, just so you know they're coming back.
Great, thank you, Rob. All right, approve an appointment to the Municipal Reserve and Trust Committee.
Want to recommend to the board Mac Monty to the Municipal Reserve and Trust Committee.
All right,
Second.
all right, all in favor? Any opposed? All right, second reading and public hearing for proposed ordinance to amend the zoning map for case 2900 to rezone approximately 1.158 acres from institutional government to suburban corridor and approximately 0.439 acres that is not zoned to institutional government for property located at Professional Drive, being further identified as PPINs 31943 and 26930. Ben?
Yes, ma'am, thank you. Second reading, public hearing to make these zoning changes. We've had no comment from the public at this point. It's about as straightforward as it gets from a rezoning to correct these issues.
All right, so we had our first reading and discussion of this issue at our last meeting 2 weeks ago. This is the second reading and public hearing. Is there anyone here to speak on this issue? All right, hearing none, we will have a
Mayor,
third.
I'll go ahead and make the motion since there was no public comment to go ahead and make the changes to the ordinance.
All right.
Second.
All right, all in favor? Any opposed? Great, thank
Thank
you.
you.
All right, consider a change order number 1 from AS Fournier Construction for the City Hall Pocket Park. Mark? I'm glad to report that if y'all want to go look out my window, it's coming along down there.
That's what I was going to say. You can see the parks coming along. They're actually started digging footings today. About 75% of the storm drain detention is already installed underground. We're moving to the concrete phase, and we need direction on the alternate. As you may recall, we bid the project to include the paver areas and the seating areas on either side of the primary path. I've got a drawing if you can get it up here. If you add the paver alternate amount, which was $36,600, we were able to find about $22,000 in deducts from the electrical package. So if you take that, it's a net increase of about $14,000. The change order has all
Tipple,
the,
can y'all put that picture up?
yeah, there we go. It's showing up.
Oh, it's just
up
not
there,
showing up on the middle.
That TV's not on.
Oh, okay. No worries.
It's in your packet.
Yeah, I've got it here. I just was-
Last time I looked, it's a TV.
I mean, we've all got it on our thing. We can look at it. I didn't realize that the audience was able to see those.
So it's about 4 separate areas, 768 square feet. It's the same pavers we use on East Jackson. I think it would add a lot of continuity between this project and that project. And it'll highlight the seating areas from the main circulation path, which is going to be just regular concrete, wash pea gravel. I'm happy to answer any questions that y'all may have.
Make a motion to move forward with it.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you. Consider extending outdoor seating revocable licenses for the downtown area. Mark?
It's hard to believe it's been a year since the outdoor dining spaces came online. 2 of the leases are up for renewal. And now that the businesses have the infrastructure in place, I'm here to request the license be extended until August 2025. If approved, we will request each business enter the extended lease when their current lease expires. The primary reason for extending the license is to prevent confusion with several different renewal dates between the business, and also reduce the number of trips to the board to ask for approval. As the memo states, it's a revocable license, can be revoked for any reason. If the business wishes to terminate the lease before the end date of August 2025, they can come request the board to terminate early. They still have to be, any new business that wants to apply will still have to go through the same process with the planning commission, shared space permit. And the reason we selected August 2025, because that will be the second month of the next elected board.
Makes a lot of sense.
Move we approve.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you, Mark. Request permission to advertise for bids for the purchases of additional materials for the Pumpkin Water Connection projects. Rihanna?
I am asking for permission for us to advertise for the materials for this project. As you know, the board has approved us to advertise for the projects. We are now dealing with the same material issues that Rob is speaking of, and we've ordered the pipe. The board previously approved for us to order the ductile iron pipe. We got quotes on that. We went through our formal bid process. We had other materials that at that time we believed we would be able to get. Since then, we've been speaking with the engineer, with manufacturers and contractors, and the supply chain has collapsed on these other items, which means that we need to go ahead and order them now so that we know in 8 to 12 months when our other materials come here that we will have this material as well. Because of the cost, I have to go through the advertising process because the materials are probably going to be approximately $1 million, I believe. So we would like to get permission to advertise. This project's been budgeted. It's all part of the Punkin agreement that the board has approved, and so we would just like to go ahead and do that.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? We have the addition at 21A to discuss notifications regarding renaming and readdressing of city streets.
Yes, we have been preparing for the official renaming and readdressing for approximately 800 addresses in the city for several years. We've been working with a number of agencies, and we were ready to launch this. We've been working in concert with the post office so that we could notify the residents and at the same time as the post office changed the addresses in their system. However, at some point, we received word yesterday that the post office has already changed the addresses in their system. And we were told that Amazon packages are now coming in with both addresses, which is what will happen during the changeover period. But I wanted to notify y'all because residents may now be receiving packages. They could get an Amazon package or delivery to their home that will show their old address and then their new address. And that's the way that Amazon does their packages. You remember we changed my address, one of the first ones when we first did this, to know how everything was going to work. My neighborhood was the guinea pig, and so those packages, they come with both addresses. But I'm concerned that residents, this is their first notification, and this is not how we intended for this to go out. And I know that's not the board's expectation of how our residents were going to be notified. So I wanted to let y'all know tonight that this has happened. And we're going to put out some notice on social media to let people know that we are going to be sending out letters. We're in the process of printing those so that people will know what their new address is going to be. Also, the time of year with the holidays, they have 6 months with the post office to change that address, so they don't have to do the change before Christmas. I know that's always a concern about shipping and receiving items. But we wanted to let you know. And the other issue that makes it more difficult is that when the post office changes an address, they have a standard postcard flyer that they put in your mailbox. What I experienced when our addresses were changed in College Hill was because we had not put our new numbers on all the mailboxes yet, the postcards go in the wrong box. So I received a postcard that said, your address has been changed to this. It just says resident, it didn't have my name on it. And so that is another point that could be confusing to those residents if those postcards have gone out yet. So we are, our local post office realized that this had happened yesterday, and they called us to let us know. But we are going to work to get these letters out to our residents immediately and get this done. And then
we suspect some of you will receive phone calls though,
Yes.
saying what in the world. So
Yes.
we just wanted to give everybody an update, and hopefully people that are watching it and any media will cover that to
Yes.
let folks know that this is something to be looking for.
yes, so it's,
All right, no motion or anything needed there.
No, ma'am.
Consider a request to close Commonwealth Boulevard approximately between Sisk Avenue and Ed Perry Boulevard on November 22nd through the 26th for the installation of a storm drain for the Commons at Oxford Commons.
yes. M&N is asking for permission to close the road for that week. They've got to install a drain, and they'll have to cut into the street and do the depth. It's going to be a large cut, and so they're asking permission to close that section of roadway. And your memo has the little highlighted portion. All the businesses will maintain access. You just won't be able to go from Sisk Avenue to Ed Perry on Commonwealth during that week.
School's out that week, so.
School is out that week, yes. Yes.
Motion made.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Consider a request for construction grading easement for the City of Oxford property located on Ed Perry Boulevard.
Yes. David Blackburn and Oxford Commons are requesting a grading easement from the city for work at the crossing at Oxford Commons Phase 2, and I believe Paul is here. He can also ask questions. We have reviewed the plans that they have provided, and essentially the request is that the City of Oxford property that is located next to the crossing property and kind of behind the Blake has a ridge on it, and they would like permission to kind of cut that ridge down so that they don't have to build retaining walls on the crossing property. And we've looked at it, and particularly our interest for the city are making sure that we are not doing something that has a negative impact to the city long-term. And so in looking at the elevations out here, I do not believe there's any damage to the city by lowering that ridge. We are gonna further review the plans. We're gonna look at, particularly there's a little ditch issue in there that we're working with. Erosion control will be a big issue, and then I think we may also look for a bond or something so that in the event something happens with the grading midway, that the city is not responsible to come in there and complete that work or finish the erosion control and seeding. They are also offering a reciprocal grading easement so that in the future, when the city chooses to do something with this property, if we need to change the grading in some way and grade onto their property, there would be a reciprocal grading easement. So I would just request permission for that construction grading easement, contingent on approval of the grading plans by engineering staff, the possible provision of a bond, a warranty period as necessary, and approval by legal counsel.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Consider change order number 1 for the cemetery ditch project in the amount of $20,967.50 for final quantities.
Yes, this is our final quantities as stated. We had overruns primarily on our borrow material that we had to haul into the site. We also had some overruns on our sod material, and so we are asking for this change order to final out those quantities.
Motion made.
All in favor? Any opposed? Consider bids received for the Rivers Hill Kroger Booster Station project.
Yes, we received bids on Wednesday, October 26th for our booster station project. We had 3 bidders. Cleveland Construction submitted the lowest and best bid in the amount of $640,824. The bids were all very close to each other and substantially under our estimate and budgeted amount, which is exciting news to report.
Isn't that just a miracle? All right, all in favor? Any opposed? I'd ask the board to now consider an executive session.
Move to consider executive session.
All in favor? Any opposed? The board will now consider an executive session.